Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Sammy and Marissa's Husbands. It's going to be a little bit different of an episode today. It's probably going to be fairly short. I am not having a guest, so this is first official appearance of my solo podcast hosting. Tyler was busy, didn't really get somebody else show tons of interest in joining as a guest. Didn't really reach out to too many people. Kind of wanted to just get it get it started, not necessarily get it over with. Um, Sometimes it just takes a lot of the time on a Sunday afternoon, especially when I'm trying to do my Sunday routine, like laundry and meal prepping and all that good stuff. Um, where we're going with the podcast, I'm not really sure. Is it coming to an end? Potentially, potentially not. I enjoy doing it. I think Tyler enjoys doing it. Um, think you guys enjoy listening to it. I'm not sure. Maybe you just enjoy kind of picking fun at us doing it, which is totally okay. But overall, I enjoy it. We'll see if it continues. We'll see if it doesn't. My feelings won't be hurt either way. But like I said, pretty short episode for you guys. We'll talk lives of recent, so life of recent, I guess. Um, then we'll basically just do a couple random questions, a couple Pat's peeves, and then some closing comments. Random questions are going to be hard because there's no one to answer the question. So it's going to take a little bit of participation. So I'm going to need you to get in the comments. Also, can always just answer the questions through a nice friendly Snapchat to myself or Tyler, and just tell me what your thoughts are. But you'll see, I think it's just one question, and you'll see how that goes when we get down there. But kind of talking life of recent. So I'm in this school, so that is not changing. I'm basically just a college student again, which is different, I would say. I'm a college student that wears camo to work every day, which is super weird. But overall, that's going well. Um, I'd say about halfway through the course, maybe a little over halfway. It ends October 17th. So really, I'm not doing math in public, but whatever that is. Um, so yeah, class is going fine. Toby actually had to get fixed this week, so he had a little bit of a irregular situation. We had to get him fixed a little earlier than anticipated. Um, Long story short, his testicles were not where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be hanging down in your scrotum as a male. Wasn't the case for him. His were up in his abdomen. They didn't like fall like they were supposed to. So the vet, the first time we took them there, basically was like, "Hey, it's a pretty big risk. If they're up there, they could get like stagnant and turn into a tumor, and it's gonna basically cause cancer." So ideally, you don't get a male dog fixed until um, about a year and a half, maybe a little earlier, just depends. He's just now hitting the 9 month mark, so actually 10 month, I think, in a couple days. But so a little earlier than anticipated, but not nothing alarming. Um, so all in all, he had to get spayed like a little girl. So my little Kobe getting spayed. So that just means the surgery was just a little bit more invasive than it would have been if he was just getting neutered or whatever the male equivalent is called. Um, but all in all, we were supposed to pick him up that afternoon at 4:30, so we had to drop him off on Monday, which sucked with the procedure not being till Tuesday morning. Um, so we drop him off, stay overnight. I'm sure he didn't love that. He got the surgery in the morning, and then we were supposed to pick him up that afternoon at 4:30. Well, the vet called us at like 3:30 and said that the stitches busted and that he needed to stay overnight so they could monitor him, which, I'm like, all right, that's fine. You know, got to do what's most important for him healing, all that stuff. So they called in the morning and basically said we could come pick him up around 1 p.m. But they're like, yeah, he got his cone off in the middle of the night and he was a little wild and like chewed up his cone. And like I was confused. I was like, okay, thought he was supposed to be being monitored. Like, how would he get his cone off and chew it all the way up? And they're like, oh, well, nobody stays overnight. So I was a little annoyed by that, I would say, because the whole reason they were keeping him another night was so they could monitor him and make sure nothing happened with the stitches. But then we just lock him up in a cage all night so that if something does happen with his stitches, he just dies in there. Like, I was very upset about that. Like, why not have us pick him up, watch him overnight so people could actually be with him, and then bring him back in the morning? Like, we would have brought him back at whatever time. It didn't matter if it was, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock. So, I was upset with that fact. And I really don't get like super upset in situations like that with people. I like to feel like I'm pretty level-headed, but I was upset. And I think it made the situation even worse because when we got in there, I was already annoyed because of that. And then we're like, yeah, we're here to pick up for Eller. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, like Max. And they kept referring him to Max. And I was like, his name's not fucking Max. I don't know where they got that, but name not Max. Uh, the vet was confused about the medicine she told us that we were supposed to get. She told Sam that we were supposed to get some kind of hormone medicine because he was getting um, neutered earlier than a male dog normally does. So basically, he needed to get some hormone medicine because now he's not getting that naturally or whatever it was. It's never something we never heard of. So like we didn't make that up. And then we go in there and ask her about it because it's what she said on the phone, and she acted like she had never heard it before. And I'm like, you told us this on the phone. So that's two more things that I was just kept annoying me. And then you guys are gonna laugh at this part, but she was at least 400 pounds. So that annoyed me even more. I mean, my thinking behind it is if you can't take care of yourself, I really don't want you taking care of my dog. She was like wheezing in between sentences, so like I could barely have a conversation with her. But yeah, so not a great experience at the vet. Um, all in all, he's doing fine. We got him one of the little donuts versus the cone because he hates the cone, and I think all dogs hate the cone because they really can't see anything. The donut they can at least look around and see, but they still can't lick. Um, we've got him off the pain pills and the trazodone, which is like a I guess calming medicine. So we've got him at that. I really don't like giving that stuff to him because I think I sent some of you guys a Snapchat of it, but he's like super stoned, basically. It's kind of funny to see, but I want him to get back to his normal self a little bit. But yeah, so Kobe's doing fine. He's back. He gets the stitches out in 2 weeks. So we unfortunately have to go back to the same vet and then get the stitches or the staples out. But then safe to say, we will not be returning to that vet. But other than that, it's been absurdly hot here. I feel like it's probably been absurdly hot where you guys are as well. It's just kind of that time of the year, late July, moving into August. It's dumb. Um, Apparently there's this thing here in the Midwest called corn sweat. And I don't know how valid that is or if it's just some kind of like folklore, some type of some old wives' tale or something like that. But apparently corn, and there being so much corn in the Midwest, does this process called evapotranspiration. Sounds kind of made up to me, but all this water basically evapotranspirates into the air, and now it's more humid than it normally is, aka making that real feel temperature being higher. So I don't know how valid that is, if there's any truth to that, but it feels like it. So we've just been making jokes about the corn sweat every day, and that's the reason it's so hot. It's that damn corn sweat. But it's making working out a little difficult. Um, so weekly activity, I'll talk that about 91 days out from the marathon. I did 27 miles this week. So I won't really talk like gym. I'll probably just talk running. But 27 miles this week. Monday, I did a tempo run, which kind of designed that to be a 30 minutes out on like a zone two. So keeping my heart rate around like 135 to 140, trying to keep it as low as possible. And then once I hit 30 minutes, I'll turn around and run back, but I'll try and like kind of push the pace a little bit, about sub 8 minute pace. So nothing too crazy. It's not like an all out sprint, but it's definitely pushing the pace a bit. So that ended up being 6.58 miles. Wednesday, I always do like a hill repeat or a sprints focus type workout. Uh, there's this there's this kind of notorious hill here in Fort Leonard Wood called Car Wash Hill. It's basically 2.5 miles down, 2.5 miles up. So it's kind of a funky thing where it's like legitimately a 2.5 mile long hill. But we don't go all the way down when we do the repeats. I run about a mile down, and there's this really steep stretch. It sucks, but run about a mile down, and then we'll do eight 300-meter repeats up the hill. So you'll sprint. It's not necessarily like an all-out sprint, but you're basically running at like your goal 2 mile pace. So you're pushing it pretty good. You're trying to get your heart rate basically as high as it can be. So you run up to the little marker and then you either walk or jog down, but you only get so much rest. So you got to like kind of get down there in a quick. And then you got to obviously run a mile back up. So jog back up, and that totaled out to be 4.83. Um, Friday we did like a ruck with my class. Supposed to be 6 miles, but I cut out on the second lap because I needed to hit Fat Arm Friday, of course, because that has become tradition. And I wanted to do that before class started. So I got 3 more miles in with that. And then Saturday is my like long run day. Supposed to be 14 miles this week. Uh, I ran 7 out, which gets a little hard because there's nowhere to run here. Like the town of Waynesville that I live in is like a mile long. So I'm basically trying to find all these like dirt trails that are basically running through people's property and like farmland and stuff. And it's kind of complicated to find one that goes for 7 miles, but um I kind of took this like ass backwards way through the park. I like went through the park and then went this other way and then ended up hitting my 7 miles out, and I was going to run the same exact 7 miles back and get to my 14. And I hit about 11 miles. So I was in the back stretch, and I was about to run back through the park. And apparently they had some kind of Founders Day going on in the park. Basically, it looked like a um, what do they call those things? Like a Civil War reenactment. They had a bunch of tents set up, and I saw a bunch of uh, Confederate flags, which I thought was a little funny because Missouri, I guess Missouri was slave state, and then I don't know if they were a slave state or not, actually. Uh, I'd have to look into that. But either way, I thought it was interesting to see a bunch of Confederate flags. But back to the run. So I struggled pretty hard on the run. It was dumb hot, and I started a little later than I should have started. Really, if you're gonna run that long, you got to start before the sun goes up. Um, Also didn't help that I had about 6 margaritas on Friday night, the night before I ran this, and probably not nearly enough water. Um, so that definitely did not help being a little hungover and then running a, you know, 12 plus miler in dumb heat, but it is what it is. Didn't die. The first 5 miles though, I was cooking. I was cruising on the first five, had the tunes going. I was running the first 5 miles and it's in a pretty good shaded area, so I was feeling good. Um, And then I hit this giant ass hill, and it had to be a hill that was a mile long. Like it had a bunch of little false summits. You know what I'm saying? So you're running and then you're like, you see where it looks like it levels off, and you get to that little level off part, you're like, oh, thank God. And then it just goes straight up again. I'm like, yeah, dang. So I swear that thing lasted for like a whole mile. And then at that point too is when the shade went away. So I was basically just getting in direct sunlight, just running up this hill. And that it really killed me. My heart rate skyrocketed, my pace slowed down, and then from then on out, I was going through it. Um, and then actually another thing that was kind of funny on the run is I joined this little 5K. Essentially, there was like a local 5K that was going on. Um, and it was Christmas in July. So I'm running through and all these people are wearing red and green. And of course I'm not wearing anything like that. But I did get some free Gatorade out of it at one of the aid stations, which was nice. Um, but yeah, so that was kind of my activity for the week. Um, Really starting to up the miles a little bit. Still working out about 5 days a week. Sometimes it's four, just kind of depends on how long the other days go. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely putting it on, getting ready. Like I said, we're 91 days out, so it's getting here. Um, and then that'll be here before we know it. And then since that is, the last weekend of October, October 26th, I believe the race day is. Um, we're actually looking to move to Colorado the second weekend of November. So I think that's like November 8th or something like that. Um, so pretty excited. Definitely gonna suck to move that twice in less than a year, but it is what it is. Uh, but with that, that means we're probably not gonna make it home for Thanksgiving, uh, just because the timing of it all. Like it really wouldn't make sense to move out to Colorado, basically not even have our house completely set up yet, and then try and either get our dogs boarded and fly home or drive home with the dogs. Yeah, we're probably gonna skip Thanksgiving, but we're thinking about doing like a mountain house for Thanksgiving. So just me, Sam, the dogs, we'll just get a little mountain house and do our Thanksgiving there, which I think will be really fun. If anybody wants to join on that, like more than welcome. But even if nobody decides to go, it'll be fun if it's just me and Sam. Um, so yeah. And also another thing I think we need to think about as a group is the next Friends trip. I think it's probably unlikely that it gets organized and happens before this fall, just like we did it last fall. Um, I'd definitely be interested in hearing anybody's ideas if we wanted to do in the fall. But if not, if it doesn't work out, I know there's some big life events that are happening for some people. I think maybe we could talk about next spring. So moving through the new year and late spring next year, early spring or whatever we want to do. I think that's something to think about. I think we could do some fun stuff. Maybe like a lake house in North Carolina or Tennessee or something like that in like early May, I think would be fun. Um, but obviously a lot of people have stuff going on. It takes some serious coordination, but it'd be something fun to do. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my life of recent. Um, Definitely things going on, but nothing too crazy. Just the normal, I guess. But kind of random questions, kind of moving into random questions. There was this TikTok I saw, uh, and it was talking about the best judge of athleticism. So this is when I'm going to need you guys' feedback because if not, I'm just asking a question to an audience and not getting any kind of answer to. But I'll give you my thoughts, and then if you want to participate, to show some support, you'll get in the comments. But yeah, so I saw this video and it was talking about the best judges of athleticism and like the guy was saying like oh yeah I thought before that it was throwing a baseball or football or something like that like I can tell how athletic a person is by how well they throw a baseball or football and that now he's gotten a little older and he thinks that he was wrong all this time and it's actually how well you hit a golf ball. So interested to hear you guys' thoughts on, for one, those two, on if, that's a good way of judging athleticism, and then also what you think the best judge of athleticism is. So I don't think it's the best judge of athleticism is how well you hit a golf ball, because I think that's one of the hardest things to do is hit a golf ball well. Golf is hard. Um, I do think there's validity to his argument in how well your swing looks. So, uh, maybe like best judge of athleticism is what your golf swing looks like. Um, Golf swing, baseball swing, anything like that. I think swinging is a pretty athletic movement. Um, I think Tyler will probably argue with this because his swing looks like shit. Uh, but I definitely can see the argument for how well you throw something like throwing a baseball or throwing a football, because that definitely takes a lot of coordination. Um, And I think Tyler would probably argue it's the throwing something versus the swing because I think they both look like shit, his throw and his swing. But he probably throws things better than he does swing things. I know that based off his batting average. Uh, but yeah, so that's random question for the week. Let me know your thoughts on the best judge of athleticism of a person. Um, Pat's peeves. So I got a couple Pat's peeves actually, a couple things going on that annoy me. First one is people getting unnecessarily naked in the locker room. Um, I get it. It's a locker room. You got to change. We all got to get naked. There's no reason to like hide yourself or anything like that. But like you can do it in a way where you're not being unnecessarily naked. Like I'll go in there because I'm in the locker room like every day. I don't go home after I work out because there's just not enough time. So like I have to shower and change in the locker room. But some of these people will just like literally get like completely naked and just like walk around the locker room. Like they're walking into the sink to like wash their hands or like turn around, they're talking to people. I'm like, dude, just like dry yourself off, put some deodorant on, throw your clothes on. Like it doesn't need to be a naked social hour. Uh so that's definitely been a Pat's peeve of recent. I'm just like, what the hell, dude? Um and then next Pat's peeve is people wearing flip-flops when they go through TSA. And then they have to take their shoes off when they're walking through barefoot through TSA. And I just think that's super gross. Um, yeah, like I just get like an icky feeling. Um, so yeah, like if you're gonna go through TSA and have to take your shoes off, like rock some tennis shoes or at least socks and slides or something. Don't be that guy that has to walk through TSA barefoot. Actually, while we're on the topic of this, I'm pretty sure TSA is changing their policy about having to take your shoes off. So, for those of you that plan on flying anytime soon, you'll have to test that theory for me because very interested. Because taking your shoes off through TSA is one of the most annoying things in the world. Like, we have all this technology in the world. You walk through an X-ray machine. Like, why do I have to take my shoes off? Can your X-ray machine not pick up if there's something in my shoe, but it can pick up if there's something in my pocket? Like, I don't really understand it, I guess. Um but yeah, so apparently that is going away. We'll see. I don't know if I believe that or not. But yeah, with the technology in the world, I feel like it should go away. And then lastly, so last past peeve is uh getting a text from a number that you don't have saved and then having to reply and just be like, don't have your number saved. Like, who is this? It's just super embarrassing because obviously they have your number saved and they know who you are, but now you have to have that like really awkward, like, oh, got a new phone, lost all my contacts. Who is this? So that situation unfortunately happened and happened to me this morning actually, and super awkward. Love that for myself. Um, but yeah, no Mike's likes this weekend. Um, yeah, just nothing jumped out to me. But closing comments. So uh Tyler's gonna have a boy. You heard it here first. I hate that I wasn't able to make it to the baby shower. Um, it looked like it was a great time. Had a bunch of people there. I'm sure they got some good gifts. Hopefully no one gave him money because that little bastard was asking me for just money instead of a gift. POS. But yeah, like I said, wish I could have been there. It looked like a fun time. They are going to be uh, good parents. Can't say great. I don't know. Just kidding. They're going to be great parents. But yeah, would love to see everybody there. Until next time.